This video is all about the coolest neighborhoods to live in here in the city of Temecula, California. All the neighborhoods we're going to talk about have some different factors that kind of set it apart from the rest. They're not your typical cookie cutter tract homes like 90% of the rest of Temecula. These are some of my favorite neighborhoods, and I'll give you some of the reasons that I think they stand out. So let's go ahead and get into it. Hey guys, hey again, my name is Justin Short. I am a realtor and team leader with the Short Real Estate team here at Keller Williams in Temecula, California and Murrieta, California. And this video is all about the coolest neighborhoods here in the city of Temecula. So really, these are some of my favorites. These are some neighborhoods that stand out from the rest of the town. They have some different characteristics that I think make them pretty cool and give you a little bit different lifestyle compared to 90% of the rest of Temecula. So I'm going to get into the list, but the first thing, if you are liking videos like this, do me a favor, please hit like, please hit subscribe. Obviously it helps me, it helps my channel as we continue to grow it. And then if you guys have any real estate questions, of course, I'd love to hear from you. So you can feel free to reach out anytime. You can call, you can text, you can email me. You're going to see my information either down below this video or at the end. Happy to answer any questions you may have or point you in the right direction. Or of course, if myself and my team, if we can help you with your search, we'd love to be a resource and love to help you through that process as well. But I'm going to get into the list. First, kind of little information about me if you haven't seen the other videos. So again, I am a full-time real estate agent. I have lived here in the Valley for over 25 years. So I've lived in Winchester, I lived in Murrieta, I've lived in Temecula for most of that time. I currently live here in Temecula. My office is here in Temecula. So I think I can give you guys a really good perspective on what it's like to actually live here. I can tell you, really some insight from someone that actually has lived here and give you some what I think is good perspective. So I'm going to go over what I think are the coolest neighborhoods, kind of what makes them different, makes them stand out. Again, if you haven't spent too much time here in the city, it is a newer suburb for sure. So I would say 90% of Temecula is pretty much your standard cookie cutter tract homes. So most of the houses were built anywhere from like the mid 90s, from like 95 until about 2007, 2008, right in that window. There are some outliers, there's some older, there's some newer. There's also some custom homes that are custom and semi-custom and whatnot, but all those probably only make up maybe 10% or so of the total houses that are out here. So because of that, kind of that decade or so span that most of the city was built in, most of the city is kind of your typical cookie cutter tract home. So they kind of look the same. There's different shades of brown. You drive through and it feels very, very similar. I think some of these different neighborhoods that I'm going to go over today that kind of have some different flavors and some different characteristics that make them stand out, I think are kind of cool, and it's always there are areas I enjoy going to. I enjoy showing homes at, just because it stands out and it's a little bit different than what we typically see. So I'm going to give you a list of 5. I'm going to start with number 1. So number 1, it's my favorite neighborhood. It's also my favorite neighborhood, and I think the coolest because that's where I live. So probably a little bit biased, but it's a neighborhood of Summers Bend. So Summers Bend is a massive new home community. They are still building new construction today. So it's getting towards the end of 2024. They'll probably still be building for another year or so, maybe a year and a half, depending how much they expand. But it is a tract home for sure. It's a master plan community. I think there's supposed to be about 2,500 different homes altogether. So it is similar to some of the other parts of town, but what I really like about it is one, the fact that it's new. So all the homes are built from like 2021 until now, and over the next year or so, they'll finish up. But because of that, they are very, very modern, very open concept, which is kind of what everyone wants, right? Everyone likes that. Most people like that open concept layout that's so trendy, right? They have all the cool finishes, right? They have quartz and backsplashes and waterfall countertops and all these cool different traits and features people like that you see on HGTV and that look good and just what's in style, right? So that is an advantage of a new home. So there's that, but also just the fact that all the cool stuff that the HOA offers. So there is an HOA. It's not a cheap HOA, but they have a lot of cool stuff. So they have a big, massive pool, really nice clubhouse, spa, really nice gym, running trails. And there is a really good mix of different types of homes in the community. So there are from small condos, so attached condos, detached condos, townhomes. There are small single-family homes, medium-sized single-family homes, large single-family homes. There's large kind of semi-custom massive estates on half-acre lots that are not, that are in the super high end of the price range for the valley. And then there's also a 55-plus section that has their own HOA and it's gated. So there's a lot of different options that are there, and it's going to be, they build it as the last big master plan community in town. It looks like there's going to be at least one more coming, but it's one of the last master plan communities in Temecula. It's popular, and I think it's a really nice place to be. So that's number one. Number two on my list is the community of Meadow View. Meadow View I think is super cool. It's kind of the complete opposite of Summers Bend. So Summers Bend's kind of that squeaky clean, new home. Almost feels like you don't want to like move dirt because it's so, everything's in its place, right? Because it's new construction. Meadow View is actually one of the original neighborhoods that were built in Temecula. So and it's located right in the middle of town. What makes it so cool is the lots are so big. So the lots are anywhere from about 1/3 of an acre, most are about 1/2 acre, up to about 2/3 of an acre. So they're larger lots than your typical little tract home, right? The homes were built probably starting right around the mid-70s. So most of the homes are built from mid-70s to mid-80s. There are still some vacant lots that people are still building today, but they were not built by a mass builder. They were all custom builds at the time, right? So owners, you'd go buy your one lot, you'd build your one house on it, and you'd have your little bit of space, and that was that, right? And then around them, this big, massive suburban city, developed. So the location is really great. It's located right down the street from the mall, right in the middle of kind of the hustle and bustle. But because the lots are so spread out and it's such a large community, I think there's got to be like 1,500 homes or so in there. But it's very large. There's a lot of properties in there, so you definitely feel very isolated. It feels completely different than the tract home suburbia that's around most of the rest of the city. The other thing that's what I think is cool about it is it's a little bit of a hodgepodge. So because they were all custom, right? So as you're driving through, one home is going to feel completely different than the other as far as the styles, the facades, right? The colors, the looks, the materials, building materials, etc. They're all going to be a little bit different. And then now, if your home was built in the mid-70s, they're now getting like 50 years old, right? So it's a little bit of a hodgepodge in that some of them have been totally remodeled, totally updated, knocked down walls, super open concept, super modern. Some are still feel very rustic and traditional, a little more chopped up, but still have some nice finishes and maybe been updated over time. And there's some that are, honestly, they're super dated. It's never been updated, never even changed the flooring or the carpet. It's all 50 years old. It needs a full gut, but it's kind of a blank canvas, and they're gonna sell a little bit on the lower end price-wise, so you can go in, if you wanted to buy something and do a full remodel yourself, that's definitely going to exist as well. So it's kind of a cool hodgepodge of different things. The location's really good. There's many properties that have horses in there, so there's enough space for that. There are horse trails in there. There's a really nice meadow. It's totally different than most of Temecula, so it's a neighborhood that I really, really like, and I think it's a cool place. So number 3 on my list is the community of Harveston Lake. Harveston is, I think it's a really cool area. It's also very near the mall if you're looking on the map. So it's on the more north end of town. It's just north of Winchester Road if you're looking at it on a map. But what makes it so cool is it is a master plan community, but it is built, as the name implies, it's built around a lake, Harveston Lake. It is which is really cool, man-made lake. It's very walkable, so people are always out there exercising, walking around the lake, enjoying the sun, kind of getting around. But the real draw to it is just the community itself, and the feel that it has is so different than the rest of town. So still master planned, most homes are going to be stucco, but they're just much more of like a quaint feel. Really feels like more of an East Coast vibe. The roof lines, you have like high pitches, you have different facades, you have different finishes. Definitely feels like kind of like more Cape Cod style on the outside, on the outside appearance at least, You do have a good mix. You're going to have from condos to townhomes to small houses to big houses. So you still have that same deal. There is a big, massive sports park there. There is, the lake, and the HOA does give you a lot too. There's the walking trails, there's community pool, community spa, clubhouse, etc. Kids play area. So there's a lot that's there as well. But the biggest thing is just driving through. It feels so much different than the rest of town. And honestly, when I have clients that when they come, they're like, everything kind of feels like a brown stucco box. A lot of times they're really drawn to Harvest Inn because it has such a different feel. Just feels like a lot more character than most parts of Temecula are going to have. So, neighborhood number 4 is the community of Santiago Estates and Los Ranchitos. This is it. Compared to the others that we're talking about, it's most similar to that Meadow View area. So they are larger lots. They are definitely big, grand estates, and they're located right in the center of town. So if you're looking at a map, you're going to see freeway off-ramps. So kind of that Temecula Parkway is like that South Temecula, just north of Temecula Parkway, very close to the freeway. You're going to see that Los Ranchitos or in Santiago Estates area. It's 2 different communities, but they butt up together. But it's a really, really nice community. You can be bigger lots. You're going to have anywhere from like a 1 to a 3 acre lot is going to be most common. And they're all custom homes. They're built anywhere from, the oldest that I've seen is probably around 1980 or so, up to some new construction that's still happening today. So big, massive lots right in the center of town. It doesn't have as much of a community feel as Meadow View has, but it's also quite a bit more expensive. You're really going to get into that neighborhood price-wise in the low 2 millions, and you'll see them sell anywhere from 3, 4, and upwards of close to $4 million. I think there's one listed for 4 right now. So there's a pretty big spread, pretty big price point, but it is located right in the center of town. The location you can't beat, and you have these really cool estates, big, massive houses, often between 3,000 to 6,000 square feet. All types of cool stuff, from having detached garages and detached RV garages to ADUs, guest homes, in-law suites, all types of cool stuff like that. So they're really big, grand properties, and they're the type of homes that you don't see very often in this area. Really the type of properties you don't see often in this area. All right, and so the last neighborhood that I want to talk about, and number 5 on my list, is the community of Morgan Hill. So Morgan Hill is probably the most popular tract home community in the area. So it's the most expensive. It's where everyone wants to be. The reasons, it's part of South Temecula, which tends to be the most expensive part of town. It's also zoned for the best high school in the area. So those are big factors. And it's the newest section of houses or one of the newest section of houses that's zoned for that. There's a lot of really great views because, as the name implies, it's kind of built up on a hill, right? So it's terraced, so a lot of the homes have a really, really beautiful view of the city of Temecula. The schools are really great, but what I like about it is, 1, it's the location. 2, the HOA, the value you get for the HOA. It's only about $100 a month. I think it's $109 right now, but it's a really, really good value. There's a beautiful pool, beautiful clubhouse, beautiful gym, spa, park, all types of cool stuff. But there's some really nice houses with some really cool features. You have big, grand features, tall doors, high ceilings, a lot of open concept layouts, a lot of great views, a lot of larger lots. It's a grand community for the area, for sure. It is getting slightly older, so they're built anywhere from like 2007 to 2012, which doesn't sound super old, but when you get a home that's 15, 16 years old, it's kind of time to update them. So a lot of the finishes that were in them need to be updated now. So depending on the house, sometimes they've been done, sometimes they're not. So sometimes people like that and be able to go in and put your own materials in, put your own kitchen in, and change some features, stuff like that. So that's the only reason it's not a little bit higher on the list for me, but the location is great. The community is awesome. It's super popular. It's where everyone wants to be. And I think the HOA is a really, really good value, and it is definitely, it is the most popular tract home community that's out there, and it's been, for the last decade or so. So I hope that's good information. Just giving you guys a little perspective on some of the cool places to live in Temecula, kind of what sets them apart. Hopefully it's good information. Feel free to reach out if you have any questions. You can call, you can text, you can email, and hopefully talk to you soon. Thanks.